Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's January 30th, 2023, here for my weekly cross-stitching update. I finished out Branco this week and started in on just regular stitching, I guess, finishing out some goals. So let's just get started, I guess. Nothing exciting to share ahead of time. So my first is my travel piece, Temperature Quaker, that I work on every Sunday. One of my designs, and this is where it is now, all cut up. This is 25 count vintage cloth in the color Prim, 1/1 full cross. Lots of blues, purples. I don't think I did any purples this time. I finished out the circle and then started the stuff in the middle. All 4 of these were the same day, and then started the medallion in the middle. This coming week I'll be able to finish January and start on February, so that'll be fun. We may actually have a couple more purples in here in the middle because yesterday and today were cold and rainy. So, but this day was my hottest day so far at 70, so that's fun. It got warm. Mine they look cold, but it's only cold for my area. I'm using the hot temperature key, so we don't get much colder than that. So my other temperature piece that I've been working on while I wait for my kids in the car after school is my Brooks Books Advent Animals, which I'm doing for WhipGo. Jessie Marie does stuff, organizes WhipGo, and I have one board this year. Most of them are an Advent animal. I've finished a few before the year started, but I want to finish the rest of them. And I also have 3 squares that are the last blocks of my Victoria Sampler year-end stitches that I was doing last year. So this, I finished the second Advent animal for January, and therefore finished my 2 January calls. So this is Colin Cardinal, all finished. These are 18 count Ada light blue, 18 count light blue Ada, 2/1. With all the call for DMC, call for back stitching and everything. I'm just not doing the borders. And super cute. I like how he turned out. So let's see, let's put this in order with all the other finished ones I have. February's calls are going to be Sheila Sheep and Cassie Cow. So I got out Sheila Sheep first. This is what she looks like. She's a little sheep who's knitting. Super cute. And this is my starting point on her. A few years back, I started all of these with one color. So they are all started. So I kind of have a base to get started with. So the green is finished, and I'll get started on that. But I won't start on this until Wednesday because this is for February. And in the meantime, I'll be working on my antique shoe collection in the car. It'll only get 2 days, but it's better than nothing. So there's that one. And then I'll show you the starting point of Cassie Cow when I get close to finishing Sheila Sheep. So that'll be fun to work on those 2. My antique shoe collection is the one I'll be working on today and tomorrow in the pickup line. And I have broken up what I have left of this into 12 chunks in order to finish this year, possibly. I'm not doing a very good job prioritizing it. So we'll see if that actually happens. But it is nice to kind of have goals to shoot for, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so I did work on this a tiny bit, and so my January goal is to finish this green boot and the ribbon that is coming out. I already have this part of the ribbon. Most of the green was already finished, and a little bit of the black. I put in this light green right here, and that's pretty much it. I worked on this week because I finished my January square of Flea Market flowers, which is in a different bag, so I'll show you that in a second. But it was nice to get back to this. So here is this one on the kit. Everything, I believe it's 14 count, antique white Aida with 2 strands. And this is the shoe I'm working on right now. So I filled in this light green right here, and I believe I have some of the medium green on my needle. So I'm starting in to finish out the green area, and then I'll do like the black gray base of the shoe, and then finish out the ribbon and backstitch that whole area. I don't think I'll be able to get that done in 2 days of car stitching. So I'll do what I can and hope that future Advent animals and flea market flower chunks go quickly, and then I can get caught up on some of the months that I haven't managed to finish quite the same or quite as on time. So flea market flowers is the other one that I want to finish this year, and I had 12 of these little sections left when the year started, so I want to do one of these chunks every month. Some are bigger than others, so it's anybody's guess if I'll be able to do them on time as well. This is one I'm working on while I talk to my sister on the phone, usually Fridays, like an hour. So it's not that long, I guess an hour and a half sometimes. I managed to finish this one. That's the one I was focusing on in January. And I don't think I touched this square at all, but this will be the one I'm focusing on in February. So I did work on that green on the shoe while I was talking with my sister because I finished my January block and had a little bit more time. So here is this one. This is 25 count vintage cloth in the color Barley, 1/1 full cross. Super fun. So I finished the petals on that flower, and so February is started because as I was finishing lengths of thread in these other ones, I would, if I had thread left on my needle, I finished them out in here. So it is started. So even though it's large, it's not starting from scratch, so that's good. So we'll see how I go with that one. It's a little more airy than, like, say this one has a lot of, it's denser stitching. So hopefully it won't take forever, and I'll be able to do a little bit of antique shoe collection at the end of February as well, because that'll be done. So we'll see. I did not work on my Mill Hill kit this week, but I think I might be able to get to it today for Mill Hill Monday today, because I'm not currently working on an Advent animal. I guess I could work on, yeah, and I'm not currently working on flea market flowers, and antique shoe collection is kind of large to take with me to my in-laws to work on after dinner. So I might just pull this one out to bring along. Yeah, that might be, I'm trying to think if there's anything else in here, because antique shoe collection really is the one I want to work on next, but I don't know. Maybe I could, because I really want to get working on that. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't work on this today. I'll bring my antique shoe collection to my in-laws. We'll see, because I want to give that, you know, as much time as I can, and there's not a lot of time left in the month. So yeah, so I won't work on that yet. I think I'll maybe go back to that next week when I have kind of a fresh slate. It's officially February. Okay, so my main stitching started out finishing up Branco, which was a event in the Facebook group Magazine Monthly Challenge, Cross Stitch Challenge on Facebook, and they had prompts for a bingo board and called one number every day for the first 25 days in January. So I managed to get a blackout, which is fun, using my own rules. So there's one in here that was a magazine new start, which I used last year's magazine new start, so I cheated a little bit, but I wasn't officially participating anyways. So I got 1 day on all of these. And for me, a day on something that I can count stitches easily on Pattern Keeper, I was making sure I got at least 100 stitches. So both Monday and Tuesday's calls were less than 100 stitches. So I ended up using those as my bonus stitching later in the week in order to get to at least 100 stitches on those 2 squares before I marked them off. Because I feel like if it's less than 100 stitches, it's not even enough to matter that I worked on it, as well as the original goal for that group. Each square should be 100 stitches or an hour. So I figured I'm gonna go ahead and get these up to 100 before I can cross them off. But I eventually did on Wednesday and Thursday. I did that for my like bonus stitching in the afternoon to get each of those blocks finished. So the first one was Crazy Wonderful Owl Family. So that was called for Monday, but I worked on it Monday and Wednesday to get 100 stitches. And I actually got 94 the second day, which is kind of fun. Total in January, 1,004 stitches over the course of the 5 times it was called on Branco. So this one is a little bit hard. It's a Anya Kai, Heaven and Earth Designs. It's a little bit hard to work on in some senses because the fabric is, picture this plus 28 count, and it's tight and floppy. So it's a little bit less desirable than some other fabrics to work with, especially in hand. But in general, the colors flow nicely. So there is that. So it's kind of good and bad. It's fun to work on too, because pretty bright colors. So here is where I'm at. This is Picture This Plus Glacier, I believe. 1/1 full cross. And I think I did a little bit in the ear, but then I also filled in the dark color along here because I figured if I'm putting this away for a year, I want to make sure I get this finished, because that was kind of bugging me that this part was not as filled in as this part. So I think there was some white I might have done, and yeah, so it's coming along, definitely more than last year. I'll also put up a before picture at the beginning of January, and so you can see how far I got here in the month of January, since it was all spread out. And I thought that's fun. And I'll do that with these, well, one more actually. No, I think it was Grand Library Romance was the other one that's already finished this 5 days, and it was starting from nothing. So the before picture was nothing. So I didn't really need to do that for that one. This next one that was on the last call for Branco was Winter Montage. And I actually have one more day on that because I only included it in my Branco board 3 times. And it is going, officially was supposed to be used for seasonal Sundays, and there's 5 Sundays in January. And I would like to have my montages on the months that do have 5 Sundays, so they get the most attention because they're the most work. So I went ahead and plugged it in for this Sunday that we just had, and 3 on the Branco board before I realized there were 5 Sundays in January. So then I added it to today as well. So I'll do one more day on this to get a full 5 days on Winter Montage. This is by Janet Stever, charted by Paint Free Crafts. And I'm working up here in this block and with the holly leaves, and I'm super happy with how far I got. It's looking great. So I worked on this, was called for Thursday, only got 35 stitches, Tuesday, on Tuesday. Did 100 stitches on Thursday to kind of finish my Branco square, and then it came out again yesterday, and I did 304 yesterday, and I have one more day on it today. So here is all of this, but I'll go in closer. This is 28 count Lugana 1/1 full cross, and I love how it's coming together. It's looking really cool. I decided to do symbol choosing in the 10 by 10 squares, going vertically to the bottom of this first block in the first section of the chart, and then when I get to the bottom 10 by 10 square in this section, I'll go back up and do the next one. So I'll kind of work this way through the block. And so I have the first square is all the way done now. The second square is mostly done. There's one more symbol in the border, And then I'll get to that today because I am working on this one more time. So the first 2 at least will be finished at the end of this rotation in January here. And I really like this coming out seasonally, so I will probably do this again next year. I have always these musings in my head about different types of rotations, but I'm kind of liking what I'm doing right now. So we'll see how I feel at the end of the year. If I keep up with this this idea of like 4 main projects, a Sunday, seasonal Sunday, and family Monday. Like, I kind of like that. So we'll see. We'll see if I keep doing that next year. I feel like that will be a good way to chip away at some of my pieces. Non-full coverage especially can get that a first chunk next year. This year they're getting 2 chunks. And as you'll see here in a minute, I did not finish my January Focus on a Finished piece, which was Flowers Within a Flower, which was a magazine chart. It's by Janelle Geese or something. Janelle Marie Designs, Janelle Gisse or something. So I don't know anything about her, but this was a magazine chart that I won in like a Pass the Stash. And there's a lot more to this than I thought, but I gave it a full 10 days, even though I have a Fancy Lady reward every month for if I finish my focus piece early before the 10 days is over. But since there's usually a few extra days at the end of the month, I figured I'll just go ahead and give my focus piece 10 days regardless, unless I finish it early. And then my Fancy Lady can get those bonus days at the end of the month to make sure it gets something, because I do want to work on all of those as well. So here is where this got to. I am happy with my progress. It's just not done. This is 32 count lamb's wool linen, I believe, by Witchelt. 2/2 full cross, lots of fractionals. I got the purple flowers done, I got the peach flowers done, I got the yellow flowers done, and I got these little white dots around here, which are the centers of some French knot flowers that will be going in later. So this center section is really done, which feels good to have that solidly done. There is still a good amount to go. So even though I had, like, I'm planning to pull out my, I didn't bring that. I'm planning to work on my Fancy Lady one more day tomorrow, because it only got a 1-day chunk earlier in the month and it's a new start, so I wanted to give it another day. There's no way this is getting done in 1 more day, so I figured it didn't really matter. I'll just move it over to next January, and 1 5-day rotation next January might see this finished. So there's more green in here. There's white flowers, there's some pink flowers, lots of backstitching, couching, French knots, you know, all of that. So it was a tall ask and I did not make it, but it's okay. I'm happy with how far I got. I think I got 1 day on it last year. And so it was a very small start. I think hopefully I showed you where it was at the beginning of the month as well. I made a lot of progress. So, yeah. So I'll be happy to pull that out again next January, and I'll kind of do this is the plan anyways. It might change, but like Brittany over at Ingleside Imaginarium, she kind of coined the Blimey Cat method for Stitch Mania back in the day, way long ago, where she had this, her various projects for the first 15 days of May for the original Stitch Mania was you start something on those first 15 days. And the following year, if you haven't finished it yet, you work on it on the day that you started it the previous year. And you just kind of roll them over every May, and if you still haven't finished them, that's the day they get worked on again. If you have finished them, you can put in another new start. That was kind of the original idea that she had. So I feel like that concept will work well if I keep this structure next year. If I didn't finish my focus piece from this year, it'll be my focus piece next year in that month and hopefully get finished then. if it does get finished, the next year's month we'll get a new focus piece. Not a new start, a new focus piece to make some solid progress towards a finish. I don't know how many more, I don't have that many quick finishes, which is why something like this didn't get finished, because it's one of my smallest projects and it still had a lot of work to do. So I don't have any smalls. So getting things done is hard. So that's why it's tricky to try to figure out how to get these all finished. The ones that I don't necessarily want lingering for a long time. Some of them I like and are on purpose lingering forever, but there's other ones that it is nice, like, I want to get these done. So those ones will get their focus spots and hopefully will be finished eventually. I did work on my letter F fairy a little bit, not as much as I would have wanted, but I was making up for lost time with the Branco calls that I didn't get any work on Monday and Tuesday because they were really busy days. So I got one more length of thread done in the F, in the brown. So that's something. And here's where that looks now. This is 32 count Water Lily Linen by Witchelt, which is the called for fabric. 2/2 full cross. So I finished the one more length of thread coming out here to a swirl. And I think I will just continue to do the brown for now. I'm a little nervous about getting down here and then having to hold it, because I like to work from the top down because it's a big letter. But I do want all the structure so I can count easier when I have all these other colors that are kind of random. So I think I will go ahead and do all the brown as I can. This will hopefully see a little bit of time tomorrow, I guess. I don't know. I do need to work on it more, but maybe I should work on my antique shoe collection. Since I'm gonna take that to my in-laws today, work on that for bonus stitching today and tomorrow, as well as in the car, to try to get that as much attention as possible. And then my bonus stitching for February will be something else, because it's full coverage February and I'm going all in on full coverage in February. So this will come back out again in March, and I'll need to really buckle down and make sure I do make time for that bonus stitching in the afternoon. So anything else? Stitching? Nope. So I guess, let's see. I'll do February plans and then I'll do quilting at the end. So February, I will be starting Finery of Nature on the 1st, and I'll E Crafting in Colorado is starting this as a Sal, and she is planning, her and whoever else is joining is planning to work on it every 1st. I'll probably do it as my bonus stitching on the 1st. So one length of thread might be not enough. I'll actually probably time myself, because it is 14 count Ada. I'm going to use all the kit stuff. One length of thread might go pretty quickly, so I might time myself and do a full 30 minutes on this every 1st as my bonus piece before I work on my main project for the day. So we'll see how that goes. I'm planning to, I think, probably work up these little flowers right here. Start in on this block first, because that'll be the best one for the way I hold my fabric. That's the plan. I haven't opened this yet even, but hopefully in the next couple days, at the very least Wednesday, I'll get that out, serge the edges. I'm planning to hole punch the back side of these cards, which is what I've seen other people do, write the symbol on it, so that when I pull the thread off the card on this end, it'll have somewhere to put it back. That's what I've seen other people do, and I do like using floss cards like this for kits. It's nice for the kit. And then my bonus stitching the rest of the month, I'm planning to work on my daughter's piece, not my piece, my daughter's piece, and give that a little bit of time every day. a length of thread or whatnot. This is on 18 count, so a length of thread might be fine for this one every day. She wants to stitch the kitty, and I'm hoping eventually she'll stitch the snowman. So at this point, I'm just planning to work on background. And I've cropped it to just basically the main subject here. So there's not a lot of background. I'll focus mostly on this part around the kitty cat, but if I have time, I'll go this way as well to the corner. It'd be nice to kind of frame it out to kind of see what we're working with. So that's my plan for this one, is to chip away at this for her because she's kind of renewed her interest in it. And I think it will be more fun for her to see like the outline of where the kitty is going to go. She has her thread on the needle right now. This is our start. This is the ear of the kitty, and the back stitching, or the background that's done, I did do myself a while back, like a year ago. It's like one, maybe two lengths of thread, actually, not just one. It looks like a lot. So yeah, I'll be working on this one if I have time to do a little bit of bonus stitching in the afternoons. I don't always. Some days are just too busy, but if I have time, I will work on this a little bit. And I forgot, I am planning to work on Once Upon a Time by Butternut Road. I'll put a picture here, and my starting point, because I totally forgot to bring it up. I am planning to work on that tomorrow, the last day of January, to give it one more day. I'm hoping to finish more of her face and probably her hand, because they're similar colors of skin, so that she looks like something a little bit. That would be nice. So I'm hoping to work on her a little bit tomorrow. She was my new start. She's on 32 count, natural linen by Zweigart, 2/2 full cross. Yeah, so that's that one. So my main stitching throughout February, it's gonna be full coverage February with a family focus. All the F's. So I am gonna do the bingo game again. This is with Full Coverage Fanatics Facebook group. They have one, they're gonna have 4 this year. And their bingo is a little bit different than the Branco bingo, where they are not going to be calling numbers. They just give you this board with prompts, and you can see how many you can do in the month. So if you are doing a counting version, you get 1,000 stitches per block to get an accounting one. There's no way I would do this many stitches in 1 month. I'm going to do 1 day on each block, and I'm fitting the prompts. If you're not counting, you have to finish the prompts. Again, like with Branco, I'm not going to participate officially. I'm not posting pictures. This is for my personal use. But everything, I believe, met the prompts okay. I have 19 full coverage projects that are not getting other dedicated focus time this year. So they are all on here. And I'm also including Visit Endor and Bear Time Stories, which are my 2 sons' pieces, multiple times, and they'll also get the last 3 days of the month after the 25 days of this is over. So they'll get 4 days each in the month of February. And one other one, I had one other space to work with, and I gave that to Patchwork Quilt Room because that one was a new start last year and did not get to 1,000 stitches. So I figured if I give it an extra day, that'd be helpful for that one to move it along a little bit more. So that one has 2 squares on here as well. Visit Endor has 3 squares, 1 square after 1 day after at the end of the month, and Bear Time Stories has 2 squares on here and 2 squares at the end of the month. So 4 days each on those. Since there are 19, actually 21 technically, focus pieces for the month of February, I'm not going to show you all of those right now. It'd be nice to have the before pictures, but I don't know what's going to come, and I don't want to show you all of them at once. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to do vlog style videos in February, and I'll still come back on Monday and film a regular face-to-face with my bonus pieces. All the travel stitching, the snowman with kitty that I'm doing for my bonus, all of that stuff, my quilting if I have any. I'll do an in-person thing, and then I'll show you the vlogs of before and afters of what gets called for the bingo board. I'm planning to do a wheel probably to pick from to know which square to do which day, because it's kind of fun to do it that way. So that's what I'm planning to do. So I don't know right off the bat what's going to get picked. I guess I could just, yeah, it's too boring to do it that way. I could just like go down, since the prompts are filled in, I could just go down like Patrick Quote Room would get the first one and Visit Indoor would get the second one. But I don't want to do that. I want to keep it random. It's fun. So I'll do vlog style for my main pieces in February. So that will help you do before and after. There'll be behind the camera shots, which some people like every once in a while anyways, because the focus is crisper if I do it the other way, flip the camera around. So I'll still have a face-to-face in February with my travel stitching and whatnot, but then I'll do the rest vlog style. So I'm excited about that. If you haven't already, go follow Colette the Highway Stitcher over on Instagram, and she'll be doing some full coverage February challenge, like questions to answer, which will also be giveaways, which is fun. And follow her channel as well, because she'll be showing what she's working on. And she's working on full coverage projects, a different one every day for I think 12 days to match up with the letters full coverage, F-U-L-L, you know, all of those letters, each one kind of like just any other acrostic you would have where her projects fit the letter. Some people are doing full coverage on the weekends. Some people are doing monogamous full coverage. Whatever you want to do, join in and have fun with us. And I think that's everything I can, oh yeah, quilting. I do have a little bit of quilting. I cut out the blocks on Saturday and I sewed it up yesterday. I'm doing the Scrappiness is Happiness quilt. I'm trying to get caught up. So far, the blocks that I've been working on are big, so I haven't been catching up. I just haven't been falling behind anymore. Eventually, I'll get to where there's some more small ones and I can do more than one at a time. But I did this one this week, the Scrappy Crossroads block. It's another large one and used a lot of color, a lot of different fabrics. But I did a lot of assembly line stitching, so it made it go pretty quickly. So here is this one, a rather large one. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. And I think it turned out pretty nice. So all the colored ones are, well, okay, the squares are all different colors. There's 32 different colored squares. I had like 33 fabrics. So for the ones that ended up being cut into triangles, there's 16 of those, and they're duplicates of the 32. So there are 16 that are the same as each other, but that's fine. And I was running out of large pieces of backgrounds, so I picked 2 backgrounds. I didn't have enough to do all of it the same or all of them different, so I did 2 and just alternated. So there's the green and the pink on each side. So they're not touching each other, so I thought that was fun. Good enough. So I liked that one. Turned out pretty nice. This coming week looks like it'll be fairly simple, but it's on the diagonal, so they have you do it on interfacing, which I've never done quilting like that before. So it's a scrappy strings, and since they're all on the diagonal, that would get stretchy on the bias. So you sew them onto interfacing. So it'll be a new trick, but I will enjoy working on that one. And I think that's everything for reels now. So have a wonderful end of January, beginning of February, and I will hopefully be back to see you next week. Happy stitching. Bye.